Hey, how's it going, Fiji? You're the afternoon step with Josie. And of course, I've got more good hits lined up for you, so stay tuned for that. But right now, check this song out, man. It's Golden City coming at you, 200 Ready for Your Love, right here on Today FM.
I'm ready for the start of something new. I'm ready for your love. I'm ready for your love. I'm ready for your love.
Fiji, I'm Josie, your host on the Afternoon Snap, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Hit Music.
I'm ready for my hands to touch the sky.
Tonight on FBC News, Prime Minister Varenga Bainimarama addresses UN General Assembly. Island schools face water shortage. And Women's Minister to retain sports role. Good evening and welcome to FBC News. I'm Amrita Priyadarshini. Fiji has warmly thanked the United Nations for all its support at the 69th UN General Assembly in New York today. Prime Minister Varenga Bainimarama addressed the General Assembly and reassured its members Fiji is on its way to a bright, sustainable future. Alan Stoltz reports.
Ourselves as a nation to the ideals of the United Nations and to its service.
Delivering his promise to hold free and fair elections, Prime Minister Varenga Bainimarama has proudly addressed the UN Assembly.
Mr. President, 5 years ago, I stood in this great chamber and promised the global community that my government would introduce the first genuine democracy in Fiji's history before the end of September 2014. It is my honor to inform you that with the support of the Fijian people, I have kept that promise. And I return here today. Thank you. And I return here today as the duly elected.
Bainimarama also reiterated Fiji's commitment to fostering a closer and stronger relationship with all member nations.
Mr. President, to strengthen our commitment to meeting our international obligations this year, Fiji opened a permanent mission to the United Nations in Geneva. It is in the process of raising our interaction with treaty bodies such as the Human Rights Council, the International Labour Organization, the World Trade Organization, the World Intellectual Property Organization, the International Communications Union, and other organizations based in Geneva.
The Prime Minister also outlined a few long-term goals that he has in mind for Fiji and its neighboring isles.
As a preeminent Pacific island nation, a true regional hub, and a Pacific beacon of prosperity and progress for our smaller neighbors. And we intend to play a bigger role in the wider world to voice our collective concerns about such issues as the environment, climate change, and the need to create a fairer trading system to benefit our people in the Pacific and in all developing countries.
Seizing the opportunity, Bainimarama also thanked the Assembly for its help in the release of the 45 Fijian soldiers who were earlier this month held hostage in Syria.
I want to thank the skillful team of UN negotiators who worked with our own military officers and diplomats in a tireless effort to secure the release of our men. I also warmly thank those nations who came to Fiji's assistance during this testing period. We will never forget your role in keeping our men safe.
The Prime Minister was joined by Foreign Affairs Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbombola in the States, where they met various diplomats, including the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, to discuss bilateral trade. The delegation is expected to be back into the country this week for the convening of Parliament on October 6th. For FBC News, I'm Ellen Stolz.
A 15-year-old boy died yesterday following an accident on Taveuni on Friday night at Naselesele. The victim was airlifted to the Lambasa hospital for medical treatment following the accident but died yesterday afternoon. He was a passenger in a vehicle driven by a 16-year-old, and it is alleged the suspect lost control of the vehicle while trying to overtake another vehicle along the North Coastal Road, causing it to veer off the road. The suspect and another 15-year-old passenger escaped injuries. However, the victim sustained serious injuries and was airlifted to the Lambasa hospital yesterday, where he unfortunately passed away. A post-mortem will be conducted as investigation continues. The road death toll now stands at 38 compared to 30 for the same period last year. Meanwhile, a 6-year-old child is believed to be the country's latest drowning victim. The kindergarten student was swimming with a 29-year-old at the Wainimbuka River at around 4:30 p.m. yesterday when the alleged incident occurred. Attempts to revive the victim were unsuccessful, and he was conveyed to the Nayao Health Center, where he was unfortunately pronounced dead. A post-mortem will be conducted as investigation continues. The drowning toll stands at 33 compared to 32 for the same period last year. More than 5 schools in the Yasawa group are facing water shortages due to the prolonged dry spell. The Divisional Education Office West says contingency plans are in place. Akasita Tale has more.
Yasawa High School, Naviti District School and Ratumeli Memorial School are some of the schools in the Yasawas that don't have water. According to the Education Ministry, other schools will also run dry in the coming days.
In Biwa, we have the problems in the supply of water in Biwa. We have sent barges and water tanks, and these water tanks are being placed in appropriate areas whereby to supply the water. And it is not only the extraction of the water, but the supply of the water and the retention.
Lorima Voravora says they are coordinating with the Provincial Development Office to help schools get by with minimal impact on students.
First priority now, of course, is the Yasawa group and the Mamanuda group. And definitely there are other regions in the Western Division that we have identified as needing water tanks and also needing backup sources of water. And we also, looking into the provision of power and generators to pump water from the wells, as well as the other machines that we have in place for the backup supplies of water.
Voravora says the Divisional Education Office is encouraging students in the Yasawa group to continue turning up to school because classes haven't been disrupted.
At the moment, no school has been ordered to close. All schools are open, and teachers are attending, and students are getting ready for external examinations in secondary schools and primary schools for their normal preparations.
Agriculture Minister Iniasiri Ratu visited drought-affected areas in the Central and Western Division yesterday. His main focus are key areas where most farming activities are done, especially for domestic and export commodities. Savara Tambua has more.
Affected by the current dry conditions, Singatoka Valley was one of the main focus of the visit yesterday. Seruratu says the situation is still under control and hasn't reached a critical stage yet, and ministry officers on the field around the country will be monitoring the situation involving farming activities. Services provided to those affected will depend on the report compiled after consultation with the Met Office on the dry spell currently being faced.
Seri Ratu is also urging members of the public to use water sparingly and conserve wherever possible. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
Stay tuned. Coming after the break, changes to the speed limit.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
Welcome back to FBC News. The Land Transport Authority of Fiji is trialling a change in the speed limit on some stretch roads in parts of Suva. The program has been in effect for 3 months and will be reviewed soon. Sakyusa Naivua has the details.
The speed limit has been temporarily increased from 50 km per hour to 60 km per hour on some roads like Ratundobi in Nandera.
The idea of reviewing the speed is something that has been around with us for quite some time now. It's all about trying to see how we can improve on our movements on the road, basing on the traffic flow or the volume of traffic on our roads, and also how we've been assessing this in relation to road safety as we talk about safety on the roads.
Change is effective on the Suva-Nusori corridor and Princess Road between Sawani and Waila. Some of the drivers have welcomed the change.
I think that's okay, but people have to be more careful while driving.
Traffic, 50 making a traffic, 60 good for asking the taxi drivers.
The LTA will review the results at the end of the month. If the authority finds that road accidents have been reduced, it will then decide whether the trial will be expanded to other parts of the country. Sakyusa Naivua, FBC News.
Women organizations in Fiji have shown keen interest in strengthening its relationship with the new Minister for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Rosie Akbar. Akbar is one of the 3 female parliamentarians in the new elected government. Shireen Lata has more.
Organizations such as the Fiji Women's Crisis Center and FamiLink Pacific are looking at opportunities to expand its networking with the new Minister, Rosie Akbar. Fiji Women's Crisis Center Coordinator Shamima Ali says they are ready to provide any form of assistance which will better the cause for women.
There are enough of us out here who will keep her on her toes, and we will ensure that there is collaboration. We will ensure that she has the information, and we're hoping for dialogue with her. And I'm sure with all that, she's got a teaching background. She's been out in the community in Ba, and I'm sure she will do very well, provided she is open to learning and listening to what has gone on and building on the work on women's rights that has already happened in this country. We have
Executive Director of FamiLink Pacific, Sharon Bhagwan Rolls, wants to share their database of rural women with the ministry, as she believes these women should also be involved in decision-making processes. The minister says she is ready to serve the people of Fiji and is overwhelmed with the support from the women organizations.
Ready to serve with respect, trust and with dignity to our people in an inclusive approach. We are one nation, one people, and destined to be the Fiji where love and compassion for each other is what we uphold forevermore.
Akbar wants to reach out to as many women groups in the country, increasing more awareness on how women can excel in all areas.
I will champion to our 1,700 registered women's groups to excel in income-generating projects, focusing on the export market. Export-driven quality will be the new formula to chart our way for all women's groups.
The ministry says they have started work to better their services to women and children in coming years. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
With the return to parliamentary democracy, one NGO is calling on government to consult with civil society organizations. Speaking on behalf of the Fiji Women's Forum, Sharon Bhagwan Roll says she is hopeful that the new government will take a more consultative approach.
Both sides of the House also need to recognize that civil society is that important voice through the work that we do to bring the issues from our communities. So to be able to listen to civil society, to be able to receive information, recommendations is going to be very important. But particularly for the elected government, I think it's a very important transition for them in the shift from what was an interim government to now the Fiji First forming the government. I really hope that there will be less of an adversarial relationship.
Fiji Women's Forum comprises of the Fiji Women's Rights Movement, Femling Pacific, the National Council of Women and the Songsong of Wakamarama Itoke. An Australian baby delivered at the back of a taxi in June earlier this year is giving back to the NADI hospital. Bulla baby Madison Kasna Wren was born at 33 weeks old, weighing only 1.7 kilograms. Akasita Tale has more.
Her parents, Ashley and Jane, were in the country for a 4-day vacation to attend a friend's wedding. However, Jane unexpectedly delivered a premature baby in a taxi on 31st May, where she was due to be born at the end of July. FBC News ran a story where underweight and very premature Maddie required extensive care before her parents were able to finally fly home with her. 27 days after her birth, Madison's father, 41-year-old Ashley Wren, suddenly died of a heart attack. Speaking to Channel 9 News, Ms. Wren says she's determined to remember her husband's legacy by giving back to the hospital that helped her and Maddie. Last month, she began fundraising efforts, and with the help of Melbourne organisation Fiji Oz, they shipped 25 cartons of donated items, including toys, blankets and clothes to NADI Hospital. Fiji Oz also donated 20 hydraulic hospital beds to the hospital on behalf of the Wrens. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Coming up in sports, Samurai on song in Kenya. And Chelsea continue winning ways.
Great words there from Lucky Dube and Baban. I hope you enjoyed that number. Different colors just for you on Gold FM. Only the classic hits. Louise with you on the Center Show. Well, thank you so much for the sweet company. This is Alana Miles, one of my favorites, and Black Velvet for you. Hi there. Join me on the Center Show every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the best sounds on Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
Welcome to FBC Sports. The Samurai rugby side from Fiji has qualified for the quarterfinals of the Safaricom Sevens underway in Kenya. Made up of players mainly from the Yamadhia club, the side beat Simba Saba from Kenya 25-17 in its first match. Later, Samurai won 34-12 against South Africa's Golden Lions and also accounted for the Spain national side 27-10 to top its pool. The team plays Icons from Australia in the quarterfinal tonight. Now, the Bar football side has got a major boost ahead of its courts inter-district championships, with one of its board members indicating she will be staying on. Newly elected Member of Parliament and Minister of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, Rosie Sophia Akbar, is keen to continue with her role as the only female board member of the Bar Football Association.
I guess so, if the board still wants my services there. But I think my public interest started with being a female member of a soccer organization, and particularly Bar Soccer, which has been known for being the soccer giants in the country. And I don't think my duties here is going to affect my involvement with soccer in Bar. And of course, I look forward to working with other districts as well.
Having served on the board of the Men in Black for some time now, her passion for sports will always live on, and we'll be looking at ways her ministry can play a part in the development of women in sports.
If you look at the ministerial portfolios, most of our roles overlap with other ministries. And of course, I would definitely love to work with the Ministry of Youth and Sports in getting more women and young girls into the sporting administration roles.
The 2015 Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea is shaping up as one of the toughest to date. However, the Fijian teams preparing for the Games are confident that Team Fiji can go back to dominating once again. This is the prediction from some teams as they work on preparing the best sides from their individual sports to take part next July. Indra Singh reports.
It's once every 4 years that the Pacific Games comes along, and Team Fiji is leaving no stones unturned for the event. Some of the sports which will be taking part have already made plans on how the assault at the Games will be like.
This year, we will abide closely on our selection criteria that was written up.
This even means sports like karate bringing in overseas-based athletes to bolster their chances of winning gold medals. While finance remains a major issue in the build-up, team sports have got their plans sorted out. This is the attitude needed to break the long winless drought endured by Team Fiji at the Games. The last time Fiji won the Pacific Games was way back in 1963, and that was the first ever Games. It has been a long wait since. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
Diego Costa's outstanding start to his career at Chelsea continued as he grabbed his 8th goal of the season to help the leaders to a 3-0 victory against Aston Villa in the EPL football competition this morning. Although the scoreline suggests it was a stroll for Chelsea, for long periods the attack had been suppressed by a disciplined Villa defence. But the Blues eventually had too much gas for the Villa outfit. Meanwhile, Arsenal and Tottenham played out a 1-1 draw in their clash at the Emirates Stadium. The two North London rivals put on a good show, but Arsenal will be left thinking of what could have been as they dominated the match but couldn't get the maximum points. Canterbury stood up to be counted by overcoming Penrith 18-12 to book a place in next weekend's National Rugby League Grand Final. It's the Bulldogs' second Grand Final appearance in 3 seasons under coach Des Hessler, with their 2012 campaign ending in disappointment against Melbourne. This time the side will come up against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Today's weather, generally cloudy periods with afternoon showers were experienced over the eastern and interior parts of the larger islands, while fine weather prevailed elsewhere. Now, a trough of low pressure with associated cloud and showers lies to the west of the group and is moving eastwards towards Fiji. It is expected to affect the group until Tuesday. It was warm temperatures all over the Fiji group, Nadi recording a high of 35 degrees this afternoon. Tomorrow's forecast is for cloudy periods and showers all over Fiji. The outlook for Tuesday, cloudy periods with some showers over Lomaiviti and Lau Group. Elsewhere, it will be fine. Recapping our headlines. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has given his first official speech at the UN General Assembly. Yasawa schools facing water problems due to prolonged dry weather. And Minister of Women keen to retain her role with bar football. That's all for tonight. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News. If you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or hashtag FBC News. You can join Jackie and the team tomorrow. From me, Nimode Mada.
Yoni borong tu mai na Radio Fiji 1 to toka tunan raki na ngona ni ko ani takini yoni nando pati tu mai nanda ngono go me do ben na ruena no ko bien karabi na single ni ko Ni sambula vinaka, oya wana ikamanalangin, na makia wana vimataka, may na diwa kina rua, na vising level, may na moniti kina warumbuka, na Radio Fiji 1, nando may viti wangani vianyano.